The Captain's Log Radio, with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. Our show is presented by Florida Fishing Products. I'm here at the BTT Symposium, the Bonefish Tarpon Trust Symposium. This is the 8th International Science Symposium. And with me, I've got Captain Brandon Cyr. He's based out of Key West, one of my favorite places to go fishing. It's absolutely beautiful. Brandon, welcome to the show, man. Tell me about you. Tell me about your story. How'd you get into fishing?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I have a very unique fishing background. Something that's just always been part of my life. I'm born and raised down in the Keys. I'm actually a 7th generation native, Florida Keys native, which is really rare.
Very rare.
Very rare. But with my father being a fishing guide his entire life, fishing was never not an option. Something that was part of our everyday process. Whether it was being with him down at the docks every day after school while he was washing the boat and I was jumping tarpon, to our canal versus going out. We did 2 to 3 evenings a week out at the sandbar, that's how I caught my first bonefish. And so it's something that's just always been a part of my life, from the very beginning. And I have one of my earliest childhood memories that I can remember where that was my moment. I'll never forget being on my dad's deep sea boat. We were driving out and my dad used to always let me drive. Like every kid always wants to drive the big machinery, right? Yeah. Driving this big, 42-foot diesel and looking out. And I remember my dad just like, go, 180 degrees south, just keep heading out. I'm gonna go downstairs real quick. I was like 4, I'll never forget standing on the chair. I'm leaned over, holding onto the, the big wheel and just there's just that moment of freedom, where it was and obviously I've elaborated on as the years have gone on and thought about the feelings that was, but that was the first time in my life that I'd ever felt like I'm in control. I'm getting ready to go, we're going out to find, I'm hunting. And that's something that's just stuck with me the rest of my life from that moment forward throughout my entire schooling, high school, everything. I've known that I've wanted to be a fishing guide since that day. And and so that's kind of how I got started. First week out of high school, I got my first skiff. Obviously we had skiffs and stuff growing up. That was my first guide skiff. And then I've just never looked back.
So you started guiding full time when you're 18?
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
32.
That's awesome, man.
Yep. It's been pretty insane, and I feel extremely fortunate because getting into the fishing industry is really hard.
Right.
A lot of people think, you see the glamour of being a fishing guide, you get to do what you want every day, but it's a lot of hard work. And if you want to be successful, the amount of dedication and time, everything that goes into it, advertising, I would, for the first 2 years of my guide career, I worked a fly shop 5-6 nights a week because I didn't have clientele yet. I was just keeping another side thing, but then fishing every day that I could to keep continuing learning more and hone my skills. And and I feel fortunate though because my dad was able to teach me, to go to the hotel concierge and stuff like that and how to advertise. And so I had a little bit more of a head start than most fishing guides.
Was he mostly fishing offshore?
Yeah, so my dad fished offshore his almost his entire life. And then when I was in 2nd grade, he had kind of just had enough. Our offshore fishery had really declined. He used to tell me stories about all the marlin and giant schools of yellowfin tunas and everything that used to be out there to now, most of those deep sea boats are struggling to go catch yellowtails on the reef. They still had some great days. Blackfin tunas, yellowfins don't really exist down here anymore. Sailfish, very rare for the marlin. So to watch something that he did his whole life and watch it collapse, he kind of just, it's a heartbreak. So we ended up moving away for about 6 months. We moved to North Carolina. My uncle had a chain of grocery stores up there and he was opening up. We wanted to go. Everybody who lives up north, they watch the tropics and fishing shows and stuff like that. Well, us being from the tropics, we watched hunting shows and stuff about the mountains. Yeah. And so that was, the grass is greener on the other side thing for us. And we got up there and it just wasn't what we expected, first of all. we don't do cold. Your blood gets used to being in the hot and stuff like that. So we lasted 6 months, and I'll never forget. It was back when they used to do the saltwater Saturdays on ESPN.
Right.
And we knew Jose growing up, and we were watching Jose catch sailfish off the reef where we used to always catch them. And my dad looked at me and my brother and said, "You guys want to go home?" Yeah. We were like, "Yeah." Literally didn't sell the house, anything. We got a moving truck, and within a week we were back home and sold the house from up there and just figured it out. Best decision we ever made.
Yeah. Awesome. Man, I tell you, there's something, and you said it, you go and you visit, and then you come back and you're just like, okay, this is where I belong. And I can't tell you, when I quit my full-time job as a teacher and started just trusting God to, hey, he's going to provide the clientele, and I'm going to be on this pulling platform, and I'm going to look for fish, and I'm going to hunt. You mentioned that. It's a hunting fish. And that pursuit, and you get up there, and that first, that you're driving across the water, and the volume goes away, and all you hear is your motor behind you. The city lights are disappearing. The city traffic, the noise is going away. And you get on your pulling platform, and you go, yeah, this is where I belong. Love it.
I truly believe it, like to my core, it's in our DNA. I mean, if you look back in the last 3,000 years, only in the last 250 years have we been put into these 6x6 rooms or 10x10, whatever, your cubicles, and now trying to tell people to be happy. Not meant for that.
Right.
And like you see that. I see that I'm fortunate enough that my clientele that I have now are some of the best people on the planet, and they're some of the wealthiest financial advisors, the most skilled surgeons, doctors, to politicians. I mean, just such a wide spectrum. And all of a sudden you see people who have all these different aspects of life, and they get to come to my piece of paradise for a few moments of time. And that's the guys who have hundreds of millions of dollars, this is where they get to escape. And so it's more than just I'm just a guy who pushes a boat with a stick. It has nothing really to do with me.
But you physically see.
Right. You see the change,
yes.
The happiness, and it really is, I think, in our DNA to be out in the outdoors and be on the water, and it's everything.
I got a family. I've got 2 little boys. One just turned 4. The other is about to turn 6. And my wife and I will see these videos on social media, and it's funny. We'll send each other a video that's very similar, and it's all about these boys. They're not going to survive in a classroom.
Yeah,
a 20 by 30 room with a couple windows and 20 other kids running, screaming, and they're being told to be quiet and focus. They're at their best when they're outside exploring. They're at their best when they're on the boat, on the skiff, they're running around. Things are, they're not stuck. And you see that with our clients, our adults. You mentioned it. They're in that cubicle. They're in that building. They're in that operating room. And then they get on the boat and it changes.
Yep.
And they let go. And in that moment, obviously there's that pressure for us as fishing guides where I want them to have the utmost experience. I want them to catch the biggest fish, the most fish, and just have the stories. But 9 times out of 10, those guys look at me and go, I don't care. That morning run, that first run, I'm set. And so pressure kind of goes away, and then we hone in and we start chasing fish. Let's talk about what you're chasing in Key West. I'm thinking about 3 fish specifically, 2 of which are part of this event: Bonefish, Tarpon, and then Permit. Are those your 3 fish every day where you're chasing?
I think that's the everyday. I mean, obviously we have some other side species, but in the lower keys, Tarpon, Permit, Bonefish, without a doubt.
And you're offering both fly and spin.
Yep.
What's your favorite?
I mean, for me, I'm at a point in my life and career where it sounds dumb, but like the process is what I'm in love with, right? The challenge. The fly fishing is always just going to top for me. It's kind of like if I'm hunting, I'm going to do a bow hunt. I want to challenge myself. I want something to be hard. So I have to, because to me, when something's hard, there's either you give up or you improve yourself and you get better, you practice, You do the things that are necessary to overcome that.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, and that's for me. That's the most and as a guide, I love that too, because I watch people that come down and they struggle and like, all right, dude, you want to get better? Like, put in the work. Here's how you do it. I'm going to teach you how to do this, but it's up to you to go home, practice, do this. And then you watch that person who struggled the year before, spent a ton of money chasing this. Then he comes down, he practiced hard, and he got better. He starts having success, and you get to watch. I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like, you watch this person, like I said, like some of these guys, run circles around me, and you watch them light up like a little kid because they're getting results from their hard work. Like, how many other things in our life that are that honest that if you just put in a little bit of work, you start to see the progression? It's nature. It's how it's supposed to be.
Those were the moments when I used to be an elementary school PE teacher. Those are the moments that I loved the most being a teacher, because you got a 5-year-old who's never sat in a line before. You've got a 5-year-old who's never dribbled a basketball before. So skills are non-existent. Right. And so you have the opportunity to teach them something, and then the light bulb moments happen, and they turn and look at you, and they get this big grin and go, I did it. And the same thing happens on the boat. Same thing happens when you make that presentation, you watch the fish respond, and your angler lights up. They're like, dude, you're right, it worked. Yeah. So, hey, listen, we're here. I want to go deeper with you in this next segment, talking about how to catch these fish, what you like to do to target them. So don't go anywhere. I'm here with Captain Brandon Cyr at the BTT Symposium. We'll be right back.
This is the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss. We'll be right back.
Anglers, unleash your passion with Florida fishing products. Our saltwater reels are built for every fight, from weekend casts to tournament triumphs. With lightweight strength, corrosion-proof seals, and ultra-smooth drags, FFP gear is trusted by pros to land more fish. To find out more, go to your local Florida Fishing Products dealer or visit us online at floridafishingproducts.com and gear up for epic battles today. Anglers, keep your catch alive and thriving with Fish Lung Gen 2 saltwater. This game-changing oxygen system pumps over 200% more dissolved oxygen into live wells, up to 50 gallons. Compact, saltwater ready, and easy to install. It's trusted by pros to ensure healthy fish and penalty-free weigh-ins. Visit fishlung.com to revolutionize your live well today.
Welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. I'm here at the BTT Symposium, the Bonefish Tarpon Trust Symposium. I've got Captain Brandon Cyr with me from Key West, and we just kind of talked about the first segment, chasing these fish. And now we're going to dive deeper in how he's doing it, things he's doing to be successful. Let's start with fly. Let's break it down soup to nuts. If you're wanting to come down to Key West and go fishing, I don't want to show up with a 12 weight to go chase these little bonefish. So what would you tell for anglers coming down for rod and reel size, line, and flies if they want to be prepared?
I would say, obviously you can get crazy and go down to 6 weight, 7 weight. If you really want to get into it, an 8 weight's a great rod for a bonefish in particular. It's stiff enough that, for the most part, even if you have higher winds, you're going to have success. Obviously, a lot of that's going to come down to the line. It's going to be important pairing with the rod. So it's hard to say that I personally like Rio fly lines. But as far as pairing, every rod is going to be different based on the flex of the rod. And so my recommendation is go into your local shop or, messaging a Florida Key shop and who have some expertise in the area.
That's not something you hear a lot.
Yeah.
And you nailed it, dude. Every rod throws differently.
Yep.
Even if it's the same model, it's going to throw a little differently. So pairing it with finding the right line, that might mean you're going into a fly shop and they might have 4 or 5 different reels ready to go, already spooled up, and allows you to go out back or out front or wherever and make some casts out in the yard and see how your rod responds. That's huge.
Yep. Well, and also, in the application that it's going to be doing, and, because like if I'm going to be, banging the shoreline for snook along the mangroves, I'm going to want kind of a heavy head that it's one haul, pick up, drop, one haul, pick up, drop. Where if you're going to be going to Biscayne and fishing super spooky tailing bones, I don't want that heavy head. I'm trying to carry 50 to 70 feet of line in the air before I shoot, and a heavy head, it's going to collapse. It's not going to have enough backbone. So all of that comes in. So it's hard to say like there's one, thing, but the best thing I can say is 8-weight, find, the rod of your choice, because obviously other people's different casting abilities, because rods, the stiffer they are, the better they're going to cast, but the less forgiving they are. So if you have bad timing or something like that, and you're just trying to rush into do a trip, you might have a rod that has more tip flat or softer. So it's a wormhole.
Yeah,
you can go down and pretty.
You can be really technical.
Yeah, and honestly, most time, like a lot of the guides, my clients end up leaving their stuff at home because most of the guides, we have the best stuff
ready to
that
go.
You could already have, and it's specifically designed and set up for what we have. As far as leaders go, that's another thing that you can always go buy your basic 9-foot or 12-foot pre-made knotless, taper leader. I like 12 to 16 pound max for bonefish. But then again, it depends on the situation. Like I like to custom make my own. So if we're blowing 25 miles an hour, I can adjust the leader so that it can be a roll cast that fly is always going to turn over. Or if they're spooky, I need to extend it. I know where to extend the certain, because like, for example, for a bonefish leader, I do 50, 40, 30, 12. And that way it has that nice taper. And if it's a windier day, I'm going to adjust certain parts of that to make it lay out smooth. If it's, kick over a little bit harder versus a flat calm day, I'll extend it so that it's going to lay off nice and soft. And so,
and you're tying your leaders out of fluorocarbon?
I always do fluorocarbon.
So think about that. If you're getting out on the water, it is number one, this isn't the time to learn how to tie a blood knot. Right. This isn't the time to try to figure it out. These are things you do in advance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So having these abilities to tie these knots ahead of time, having the fluorocarbon leader with you, paying attention to your conditions, whether I need to have a softer fly, the fly landing softer in the water, or I need it to roll over harder because it's a little bit windier. These are things that you need to think about ahead of time. When you're making your leaders, what are you doing to keep them from getting tangled? I know what I do. What do you do to keep them tangled?
So
organization here.
I have a little, literally a little leader booklet. And so I'll just take and I'll coil them, and always start from the thin side and I'll coil. And then when I go through the thicker, I always count. So I'll do them all the same. I'll wrap it, maybe 5-6 times and then put it in the little plastic, leader thing. So that way it's ready to go. I mean, if you're doing tarpon leader, you can get crazy and get like the leader stretchers and all that stuff. Which are beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
They're awesome, but
space on a skiff.
Yeah, space on the skiff, but also just in pandemonium, trying to unhook everything, so it's, I normally just do them like that. Or, a lot of times it's really convenient, especially in tarpon fishing, because you go through a lot of leaders. Mm-hmm. It is really convenient to have them pre-made. Like I pre-make all my tarpon leaders, and like my clients who bring those, that's nice just to, we do loop-to-loop connections, just boom, boom, undo it, done. So
another thing that I like to do, they make these organizational pouches. You can go to Walmart and get them. There's a brand called like Okeechobee Fats or something like that. And it's made, the Bass guys designed this. It's a little bag that zips, and it's got little Ziplocs in it. And you can organize it to put different colored plastics in it, right? So it doesn't bleed through. Everything's in one spot. But it's another great spot for you to put your pre-made leaders in there. You run the Ziploc bag closed, and you can zip it up with the zipper and store it. It doesn't take a lot of space. Let's talk about flies. If I'm going down for bones, and I've got a bonefish story for you on fly. What's your favorite fly for bones?
So it varies spot to spot. Obviously shrimp patterns. I tie all my own flies, but shrimp patterns are always a go-to. They eat crabs as well. The biggest thing is you want to have variable weights, right? So whether it's going to be, tailing fish, you're going to need super shallow. I'm not a big fan of store-bought flies. Like typically guide flies are always better flies, or some of the fly shops will have a professional tire that goes, because for bonefish, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of high grass, shallow water. So like 98% of like your regular store-bought flies are going to ride hook down, which means that you're going to be hooking grass, snagging, and then you got to put a weed guard on, which can stop the fish from getting stuck a lot of times, or that the big thick piece of fluorocarbon they can see. So a properly tied fly is, I think, really key to having a lot more success.
My biggest bonefish on fly, not too far from here, Biscayne Bay. We're just north of that here in Fort Lauderdale. I was with Captain Yuli Rodriguez. We were filming an episode of the Captain's Log, and we had tailing bones. And bro, I'm like shaking. I've never seen this before. Tailing bonefish. Yeah. It's slicked out, and I'm throwing a 6-weight because we're seeing a bunch of little fish.
Right.
So 6-weight's perfect for what we're seeing. And I see this fish tailing, and Yuli points me over there, and I make this presentation. And as soon as the fly hit the water, the fish dropped down. I thought I spooked it, but he didn't push. And then I ticked my fly, and he went bananas and grabbed the fly and took off. And I'm screaming, awesome. And I got my rod as high in the air because there's all these little mangrove shoots. Right. And we get the fish to the boat, and it's 31 inches to the fork.
Whoa.
And I'm like, holy crap. And it took me like 20 minutes to get this fish into hand. And I'm almost in tears. Like it's
a fish of a lifetime.
I'm overwhelmed. Fish of a lifetime. And then it was a 6-weight. And I was like, I can't believe we did this on a 6-weight. And we didn't break off. I think we were using like 12-pound leader. Yeah. I can't believe we didn't break off on these little shoots. It's just, God just orchestrated everything to happen together. It was unbelievable. I was hooked. Like, I already loved to fish, but those moments, man, those stories of seeing, I can still see it. And the cool part is we got it on film, so I can always rewatch it. But it was just like, wow, I can't believe we did this. And I know Jack, the main filmer and editor of the show, he's like, Jonathan, you got to talk. I'm like, I don't have words to talk right now, dude. Like, and he came over and gave me a hug, and I'm looking at you, and I'm not kidding. I was like in tears. Like, this is overwhelming. We've got just a couple minutes. If we wanted to let's transition to tarpon.
Yep.
Okay. Sticking with fly. I'm not throwing that. We're not chasing juveniles. Right. We're going to bump up to the bigger ones. What's your rod reel size, line, leader?
So I always go with an 11 weight. Personally, I like the way 11 weights casts better. You have more feel.
I don't like the odd numbers. I stick with
10, 8,
6, 8, 10, 12.
No, so sometimes the 12s for me just are a little bit more overkill. I mean, they're great when you're fighting a big fish, but I just like the feel of an 11 weight better. You have more sensitivity in the tip because not every cast is 90 feet out. A lot of times with tarpon, your cast is 20 to 30 feet. And the accuracy of...
Say that again.
That most of our shots are that 20 to 30 foot instead of the 80.
So many people are trying to get that long cast and neglect the short game.
Yep. I would much rather have somebody that's accurate up to 40 to 50 feet than somebody who can cast 100. Because, and honestly...
Then you'd like fishing with me.
Well, because the thing is, like we're all about, trying to eliminate the variables, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, for example, on oceanside tarpon, we're splitting strings, so to speak. You're trying to show the fish as many fish in that string to fly before they pass through.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to lay that into a spot the size of a dinner plate multiple times at 80 feet over and over and over? Or is it better off to wait till they get a little bit closer, pick it up, drop it in front of the first, second fish, strip it across them, no reaction, pick up one haul, drop back down? And you can do that and split the string till you find the one that's going to eat.
Yeah.
Where people try to reach out at 80 feet, you now have 80 feet of line out. Chances of being accuracy is pretty hard for precision. But then also, if it's in the wrong spot, you now have to panic strip up 40 feet of line just to be able to lift it up, which, could spook the fish out or do anything, but also if they're moving fast enough, they're past you.
Right.
So, like I said, control the variables,
That's
something
good.
that is always more of an improvement.
Well, hey, we're coming up on our next break. More from the BTT Symposium down here in Fort Lauderdale. When we get back, I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. This is the Captain's Log Radio.
This is the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss. We'll be right back.
Surfing, fishing, or crushing a triathlon? Waterman's high-performance sunscreen with aqua armor keeps you protected for 8 hours in water or sweat. Our sun care products are reef-friendly, fragrance-free, and won't run into your eyes. Engineered for athletes, it's sweat-proof and stays put, no matter the challenge. Trusted by pro surfers and lifeguards alike. Skip the burn at gowatermans.com. Watermans. Outlast the day.
Welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. This is going to be a two-part segment, two-part show with two really incredible fishing guides down in Key West. And one, I'm so thankful to call a friend, Captain Nick Labadie. Dude, I'm so proud of you. You're crushing, bro.
Right back at you.
Man, I had this dream for years to get down to Key West and chase tarpon, bonefish, and permit, and to catch all three species in one day. And that is not an easy thing to do.
No, I mean, it's a special thing.
Very,
for sure.
Very. And so I called you, and here's my challenge. And here's where the relationship started. I think we met at IDCast a year or so before.
That was what
And
it was, yeah.
I was coming down with my wife for a birthday trip to the Keys, and she goes, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" I said, "There's only one thing I want to do when I get to the Keys. It's call Captain Nick Labadie and go fishing."
Go fishing.
So we connected, and I caught my very first permit with you. And to see these fish up on the surface and respond to that crab bro.
Yeah, we were up against it that day too, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
We had some wind and clouds.
Yes.
Kind of looking just for like these little like, maybe is that something? And every couple minutes you might get like a flash, be like, yeah, they're there somewhere.
But that speaks volumes to you as a guide, as a passionate guide and angler, to push through the elements, to push through the challenges and still go after that fish and then deliver. That's what people don't understand who don't guide, is you have to, I don't want to say you have to deliver, but there is the pressure to deliver, to make sure your clients have the utmost day. And there are days where it's magic. It's easy. It's so much fun. There's no pressure. Catching fish, that's just, everything's happy.
Yeah.
And then there's days where you have the wind, you have the clouds, you have fish.
That was definitely tough for me as like, throughout my guiding career goes on. I mean, when I first started guiding, I felt that pressure a lot, like you have to catch fish. You have to catch fish, especially with my beginning as like a bay boat guy and spin fishing, like you should almost be able to get the job done, like no matter how easy or hard it is. And then the slow transition to like technical fly fishing, like I had to kind of take a step back and be like, well, it's not really all about delivering anymore. It's more about like providing the experience and the opportunities.
Yes.
And that's why when that fish happens, it's so special.
It's so special.
It is. Yeah.
And I've talked about this recently a lot. You see the release in your clients. You see them letting go of the world and work and getting focused in. There's so much to being on the water guiding. Moving forward, we had the opportunity to chase that slam.
Yeah.
And not only were we trying to do something difficult, we were trying to film it and capture it on film, make it a TV show out of it. And so we get down there and we catch the tarpon really fast. really fast. We were using crabs. If I'm not mistaken, we were using
I
live
think,
bait.
pinfish. We rode out in
Pinfish.
the morning.
Yes.
And we had some fish around first thing, and
You had a trap. You had the trap was
pulled some bait.
it was buried. Not buried. It was like you had a secret spot. You're on your phone to find it.
Yeah.
And we pulled the pinfish, had them on a float, watched all the rolling fish, got the first one. You're like, okay,
And he
that
stayed
was
on.
stayed on.
And we got him.
Yeah.
Which sometimes, like in the slam, the tarpon could.
And you were saying
a
that
really
that
hard
day.
one, you know, it's like, because obviously the permit's going to be like a really big challenge, and you know, maybe you get a bonefish, and then I mean, sometimes you could hook 3, 4, 5 tarpon, and you're never going to touch that thing,
Right.
and you're like, I was so close. So to be able to get our first bite, get that fish to the boat, get the tarpon out of the way, first thing is,
Yeah,
wow.
you looked at me and were like, that was the hardest fish of the day. The rest is going to be easy. And I'm thinking, no, that was so easy. That was so much fun. Like, we got the first one. Cool. From there, we went after permit. And when you took me to a spot, and I talked about this the other day, we were on this just pristine flat, a couple feet of water, and you're like, man, they should be here. They should be here. Why aren't they here? And then all of a sudden, here comes this giant, I don't know if you remember this, giant hammerhead.
Yes.
And it came out, and you're like, well, that's why they're not here. And then it charged the boat, and it did like a 180. I thought it was going to crush the boat. Like
Dude,
it was,
I totally forgot about that.
and Jack was filming, got the whole thing on video.
He blitzed right into us.
It was
hard.
spectacular,
Yeah,
spectacular.
that was cool.
But then we move, and I'm going to be honest. When you're guiding, when you're on the water as much as we are, you develop eyes for fish. You know the color, you know the push, you know what you're looking for. And some people have accused me of lying to them because I say there's a group of fish right there and I don't see nothing. I'm like, I'm telling you. In fact, one time I probably shouldn't have done this. I said, here, let me see the rod. You're gonna call me out. Watch this. And I made the presentation and caught the fish. And they looked at me like, whoa. I'm like, there's 10 more with them if you want to go catch one. Like, trust me. Like, this is what we're doing. So the permit are up on the surface and the current's going one way, wind's going another. I don't see nothing. And you're like, no, it's over there. And I'm like, I didn't want to tell you. I can't see nothing. I couldn't see a thing. And then I made the right presentation, still didn't see the fish. And you're like, you were all about it. That's it. And I saw the fish rise up and turn and grab that crab.
It's a good one too.
And it was a big permit.
Yeah.
And now there's the stress of, I got to get this fish to the boat. I can't lose this fish. This is a monster fish. And I remember when you pulled that fish out of the water, all the microphones peaked. And Jack is ripping his headphones off because the excitement is real.
It is.
You just put me on a world-class fish. My biggest permit, we sight fished it. It was surreal, right? So,
I mean, that first fish, just you never forget it.
Right.
I mean, I could tell you every little piece of my first permit like it was yesterday. It just burns into you. I mean, I don't know what those fish do, man, but
yeah.
they do it to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. That was cool. That was a good fish too.
And those permit are so mysterious to me. I don't get opportunities to chase them very often.
The unicorn.
Yes. And I haven't taken one on fly. And that's on my list. And that's on a lot of people's list. I know some really accomplished fly anglers who have never caught a permit, have tried for years. And then I know guys who show up on my boat and I'm like, you've caught a permit on fly? I'm like,
Sometimes
really?
it just happens, right?
And then they pull up the phone and they're like, I mean, I believe you, but then they pull it up and show you and like, whoa, that's like, congratulations. Like, well done. Then we went after the bones. And I'm trying to get through this because I want to tell the whole story and get deeper into you and how you're chasing these fish. And this is not on the episode, but we sight fished a bonefish off the back of a ray. And I made the presentation. The fish ate it. It took off. I look back at you. I'm hollering. And this is my first bonefish ever. And the reel's screaming, and I'm just ecstatic. We get the fish to the boat, and I messed up. It's my fault. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but in my head, I said to myself, it's 11 o'clock. It's not even lunchtime. And we just caught a tarpon, a permit, and now I got a bonefish on. and we're going to be back at the dock in an hour. We're going to have lunch.
You did.
I did that in my head.
It was you.
So here's what happened. We get the fish to the boat.
Yeah, we're like sitting there looking at it. Like,
And you pulled it out of the net. We're trying to be mindful, manage the fish correctly, keep our hands wet, keep the fish in the water, try to do everything we can to protect that fish. You unhooked it. You looked at me.
I didn't even unhook it. We had it there, and I think the jig just
popped out or something.
right out.
And then slid out of your hand, and you're like, awesome, there it goes.
There it goes. That's great.
And technically, we did it.
We did.
But we didn't capture that portion of it enough for it to count for the episode.
On film, yeah.
I want to tell you guys, it was like 3 hours before we caught the next boat.
Oh, I know. It was. I mean, I don't know how we got away with what we did that morning. I mean, it was blowing 15 to 20 and completely overcast.
Yeah.
And then, we spent the next probably, I don't know how long, hours to get that other bonefish.
It wasn't, I didn't bring a banana, okay? But I thought about it in my head. I got this fish, we got this lamp. But man, listen, to knock a dream come true, something I've been wanting to chase for years, that was special. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
my
truly.
pleasure,
I've got goosebumps.
I love that part of my job, taking people to experience that. And, it's so special to everybody that's a part of it. It's cool, man. I'm glad we got to do that.
How long have you been guiding now?
I guess maybe 10 years, 10, 11 years.
How did you get into fishing? We got a minute and a half. How'd you get into fishing?
Yeah. I think my first memories of fishing were just goofing off with my dad before baseball practice, throwing in the lake, trying to catch bass,
Where'd you grow up?
West coast of Florida, like Inglewood, but
Okay.
like Boca Grande,
Okay.
kind of hour south of Tampa. So yeah, just kind of started fishing and then focused a lot more on sports, and decided I wasn't going to do college basketball, and kind of got back more into fishing now that I had the time and got chewed up.
Did you go to UCF? I remember that correctly?
I did, yeah. I was in Orlando.
You graduated from UCF?
So I transferred down to the Keys.
Okay.
And went online and never finished. I got my AA. I got enough credits for 2 degrees. I kept changing.
But still a UCF night. That's where I went to school.
UCF, yeah. But no, I never finished. I just
Hey,
fished.
you get there's a lot to be said there. Okay, this man doesn't have a college degree and he's crushing it. So if you're passionate about something, I don't care what it is,
Doesn't
what
matter
industry,
what it is. If you put the time into it,
bingo.
and
Bingo. So those listening, you youngsters, your job right now is go to school, get education in high school, get your degree, and then be specific. Go after it. Crush it. Hey, we got more with Captain Nick Labadie when we get back. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss, and this is the Captain's Log Radio.
This is the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss. We'll be right back.
Elevate your boat's shine with Stark Yacht Care. Our premium marine-grade compounds, polishes, and ceramic coatings deliver strength, durability, and a flawless finish. Trusted by pros for easy application and long-lasting protection. Based in Fort Myers, Florida, Stark redefines boat maintenance. Check out the entire lineup of Stark products. Visit starkyachtcare.com or visit one of the Marine Detail Supply Company locations today.
Florida's wild spaces are calling. At All Florida, we're hikers, hunters, anglers, and artists united to shape a future where our woods, waters, and wildlife thrive. We show up at every meeting advocating for smart conservation and sustainable growth. Join us at allfla.org to protect Florida's natural treasures for generations. Be part of our community. Stand up for Wild Florida.
Welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. Got a good friend with me today, Captain Nick Labadie from Key West. What's the name of your charter company?
Tailing Water Expedition.
Tailing Water
mouthful.
Expeditions. He's got a sick logo, so if you're like me and you like hats, go order some hats from him. I don't know if you're still making them.
Yeah, we got some stuff somewhere.
Dude, they're sick. Trust me. They're great. Let's talk about targeting these fish. you're a guide. If you want to go fishing in the Keys and chase these fish, first off, you need to practice. Practice. You don't want to show up and ask Nick how to teach you how to do a double haul, because you're doing yourself a disservice. You're making the investment to be there. You're making the investment to go fishing and try to catch one of these fish. Practice. That's huge.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you don't learn on the boat. You learn in the park. You do. That's where you get your muscle memory down.
Yes.
For sure. I mean, of course, there's no, to feed fish, you got to be on the boat throwing at them, but you can't feed them if you can't get it there.
Yes.
Which is done in the park.
So let's talk about
house.
feeding a permit.
Sure.
This is tough. We dabbled in that in the first segment. How are you approaching these fish? What's your rod and reel setup?
You talking fly
Let's
fishing?
talk fly.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, like we talked about earlier, I mean, I remember honestly the first time I even got eyes on a permit in the Keys, and started out chucking live crabs. I mean, I was a spin guy for the most part. I'd have a fly rod with me, but I would always grab the spinning rod, whether it was a tail and redfish or whatever it was, and caught some permit on live crabs out of my kayak. That's all I really had.
Wow.
And then I was like, it's cool to catch these on fly rod, I think, and realized how bad I was at fly fishing. I was like, I'm not good enough to chase these things on a fly rod. And I had my little 9-weight, and same thing, man. I went to Bayview Park downtown, and I just casted and watched some videos, and actually kind of did end up getting a fly in front of some fish. Never got a bite, never got one. And then kind of started full-time guiding from a bay boat. And honestly, man, I don't even think I got another fly shot at a permit for 4 years after that. I was doing a lot of spin in the bay boat with some fly stuff. And then when I got into a skiff, I kind of got a little bit more technical with it. But anyways, getting away, yeah. So my setup for fly fishing, I mean, is either a 9-weight or a 10-weight. I'd rather have the 10 unless it's really calm, just because I like to be able to have the extra distance. But there's definitely a lot of people and a lot of time and place where a 9 could be nice or even an 8.
But the 10 to punch through the wind.
To be able to get the distance, and if there's some wind, and you're throwing weighted flies too, that's a different thing. I mean, with the tarpon in deep water, I mean, you can kind of throw that fly, and if it's short or long, there's like a lot more play for that fish to come over and eat it. But if you're throwing at a permit and 2-3 feet of water, and that fly lands, like if it's too far away, the fly's in the dirt, the fish is never going to find it. If it's too close, the thing spooks. That's why accuracy is super important. But yeah, with that weighted fly, I mean,
Is the idea to cast beyond the fish and then bring it to them?
so I will tell you the biggest secret in fly fishing for a permit, and I'm not trying to sound smart here, but it is showing the fish the fly. That is it. It is like, if you can just try and put that thing on that fish's head every time, and just get a reaction. Because as you know, they're super spooky fish, right? And take your time, make your first shot count if you can. And whether it lands on his head or lands on his tail, and that fish spooks off, that reaction is better than being short twice and the thing spooking off the boat. You know what I mean? Gotta get it to him. Gotta show it to him.
What's the distance?
As far as you can. I mean, there's times, I mean, even with some really great anglers where I'm like, you need to have it, it's calm. You need to dump the whole fly line to even have a chance. And honestly, it's still probably not going to work, and then you catch a lot of fish when it's blowing 15 to 20, 30 feet off the boat sometimes,
Do you think it's because of the waves, they're not seeing you?
Yeah, the wind.
And the water
wind helps.
noise.
I mean, 15 to 20 miles an hour, I'm licking my chops. If we can get a good shot, I feel like we're gonna get a bite. I just go in with that mentality. You have to.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to, like every fish you see. And a lot of my permit fishing honestly stemmed from fishing with Nathaniel Linville. He was the first person I ever saw catch a permit on a fly rod, which was like, oh my gosh, they eat flies. Like, this is a possible thing now. And I wouldn't necessarily say that he sat me down and said, you know, this is how you do it, but just watching and believing and kind of seeing like how it works. You know, you kind of start putting your own kind of stuff together. But in terms of getting back to like setup, like his, you know, his leader formula, which I used for a very long time, and I'm still pretty much throwing this. Standard 50% roll, who do like 6 feet of 60, 3 feet of 40, foot and a half of 30, foot and a half of 16, comes out to a 12-foot leader. If it's like crazy windy, and you have trouble with that big heavy fly, you know, you can shorten it up 10, 11 feet. You know, me personally, when I'm fishing, I'll probably throw like more of like a 13-foot leader. But, you know, find what is comfortable for you.
How many of those are you preparing ahead of time?
None.
You're making them on the boat?
I mean, yeah, I mean, they just live on the boat. You know, my permit rods are set up, and, you know, you can kind of just change the 16 out if it gets too short, or just kind of don't really need to do that. Like with tarpon stuff, sometimes you want to like pre-make some leaders, but I don't know, just kind of roll with it.
Are you doing a weight forward floating line for these permit?
Yeah. So I fish floating line. I honestly, I don't even think I've ever caught a permit on like an intermediate line or intermediate tip, which just probably is due to the fact that I'm not throwing it at them. But they're, again, going back to like find what works for you and staying in your comfort zone. There's a lot of incredible permit anglers that, you know, are moving towards that 6 foot clear intermediate tip or whatever the distance is, or even all clear. And it's nice watching technology kind of help us with the fishery, because, I mean, there's situations where that clear line is definitely going to give you an advantage, you know, and there's a lot of situations where that clear line is going to hurt you.
But then, you know what, you see, we're here at the BTT Symposium. We've got guys who've been fishing since way before we were born. And you know what they used back then? Not what we're using now.
No.
They didn't have the technology then to build the lines they have, mostly using mono and other fly lines, and they were catching them then.
Catching them. And there's the argument that they were less pressured and there was more of them and stuff like that. But, I mean, I was just fishing the Bahamas last week, and I was fishing a full opaque line. You know, I mean, so there's some times I'll get in a clear line mood or a clear tip mood, but no, all that stuff's not really necessary, right? I mean, find what you're comfortable with and stick with your program.
Let's talk flies.
Working through it, sure.
Are you tying your own flies for your clients?
I am. Yeah.
Mostly crab patterns?
Kind of a process for me. I really didn't fish my own flies for a while, but I've gotten to the point where I do like them. And yeah, crabs.
The fish like them.
Yeah, some days not. And it's interesting talking about flies because, again, with technology and fly design, there's probably some people throwing some crazy stuff out there. I've never really put on anything I would say like is new age. You know, just like standard crabs and shrimps, and I am seeing like it kind of go back to like traditional flies. You know, your standard crab with your splayed hackle rather than a strong arm out the back and stuff like that. So
are you doing bead chain or lead eyes?
Lead usually. Small, medium lead. Bead chain, I guess if it's like super shallow and super calm, but you know, it's really not really seeing a ton of fish where you wouldn't want, you know, at least like some extra smalls or smalls on the crab.
We got 2 minutes. Okay. What's your favorite fish to catch, chase?
Permit, no question. Keep it up at night. Absolutely. I mean, I went this tarpon season, the first season, I personally never caught a big tarpon, and I didn't think twice about it.
And you've had so much success fishing the Del Brown, chasing fish. There's your heart and your passion shows in everything you're doing. I mean, you're crushing it, dude. You know, even having this conversation and hearing the knowledge just pour out, the confidence in all of this. This is what I do. This was what works. Even going to using your own flies, tying your own flies, and seeing the results. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just, again, what works for me. You know, I don't pretend to be like an authority figure on any of this. I encourage people to like try new flies, try new stuff, try new lines, try different leader material. And I think it is important to like, again, I keep saying it, find what works for you and stick with it, because every year a new rod comes out, every year new lines come out. And I see these guys like, got to try this new rod, got to try this new line. And it takes them 6 months to get it all together. In. You know, whether you have, you know, the guy who has been fishing the same rod and same fly line for 10 years. That's his thing. He fishes the same rod, same fly line, same leader distance every single time. Consistency is the only way you're going to be able to get pinpoint accuracy. And
that way, that's when you make that cast, when you are practicing those casts at the park, and then you get to the boat and you know what it's like. Nick, we got 30 seconds. How do people get a hold of you?
Website, Instagram, is all great. Stuff like that.
What are they? Tell us.
Website's tailingwaterexpeditions.com. Instagram is Cap Nick Labadie. Find me on there.
Awesome. Yeah. Guys, book a trip with him. He's an absolute blast to be on the boat with, and he will put you on fish and give you the just utmost time. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. This is the Captain's Log Radio, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Did you catch a trophy yellowfin or gator trout? New Wave Taxidermy crafts museum-quality fiberglass replica mounts. Handcrafted in Stuart, Florida for over 40 years with lifelike details like hand-painted glass eyes, intricate scales, and even custom bases. Visit newwavetaxidermy.com to see stunning showroom displays. New Wave Taxidermy, preserve the thrill forever.